Welcome back, guys. Time for another Warcraft Total War faction preview, and this time, as you can see, it's the other dwarf faction. Already did a regular dwarves faction preview. Now we're talking about the more edgy, more dark, the dark iron dwarves. And this is a pretty unique faction. Even though they're dwarves just like the regular Ironforge dwarves, these dwarves have a completely different unit roster for the most part. I think maybe the only unit they have in common are these guys, which will be the first ones that we'll be talking about. The Dwarven Militia. So yeah, let's start off with them. They are actually not that good. Pretty bad units, no good abilities. I guess they're kind of okay as a garrison, because unlike a lot of other militia units, the Dwarven militia is pretty disciplined. You can see how they're lined up properly. Usually militia units are wandering around and disorganized. So yeah, I'll say they're good enough for a garrison. Moving on, next we have the Fire Elementals, which are really good, surprisingly good. 10 melee attack, 14 defense, but they also have a pretty powerful missile attack. It shows as 6, but when you actually use them, it's more powerful for some reason. Maybe they shoot it pretty regularly. I think that might be the case, but yeah, pretty solid. I guess you could call them spellcasters because they use fire magic, but yeah, definitely worth getting. Next spellcaster unit, we have the Shadow Sworn Warlocks. Very edgy looking indeed. Very good. 10 melee, 15 missile. That's pretty high. They're definitely a higher tier spellcaster unit. Pretty good. A little bit expensive, but that's usually the case with spellcasters. Then we have the Dark Forge Axe Throwers, and they are pretty good. And 9 melee attack. They have a missile attack, which has armor penetration, and they have pretty decent defense. Definitely worth getting, especially because of that armor penetration. And since the Dark Iron Dwarves usually face off against Stormwind first, that's going to help break open those human shells. Then we have another magic unit, the what do they call it? The Dragon Scale Inferno Blasters. Basically, they're a flamethrower unit. Kind of low melee, but they have pretty good defense. 19, 13 missile attack, and of course, because it's a flamethrower, it has armor penetration. Pretty good unit. It can be used. It's very devastating if you put them on top of a gate, like a gatehouse. Very good position for them. Then we have another magic unit. Wow, look at that armor, so unique looking. Molten Fist Inferno Mages. So let's look at their stats. Long range missiles, that's really good. Decent melee attack, 10. Really, really high defense for a spellcaster unit, 22, 2 hit points, and the missile attack is very high, 15. Yeah, these guys are some of the best spellcasters in this whole mod. And that's an interesting thing about the Dark Iron Dwarves. They're very versatile. They have good infantry, good cavalry, good monster units, good spellcasters, good, extremely good siege equipment, cannons. But you'll find out soon enough. So next we have these goofy looking guys, Anvil Rage Sunderers. They're pretty bad, but I guess they're supposed to be spear unit. It says they're heavy infantry, but they have bonus against cavalry. They also have armor penetration, so that makes them better than these stats seem to indicate. Not bad. Considering how cheap they are, they have armor penetration and the bonus against cavalry. They're pretty good. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Then we have the standard Anvil Rage Warriors. They also have pretty goofy looking armor. Look at those helmets. Low attack, but yeah, pretty good defense, and the abilities are nothing special. But yeah, definitely recruit these guys instead, just because of that armor penetration making a huge difference. Then we have the General's Bodyguard unit, Doomforge Pulverizer Bodyguard. Good, it's pretty good. 13 attack, 16 defense, bonus against cavalry. Again, very, very important because they fight Stormwind a lot. And they have armor penetration, which also helps a lot against Stormwind. Yeah, not bad. Not the best General's Bodyguard. Other factions have better ones, such as the High Elves or Blood Elves, but not bad. Definitely above average. Next up, we have Doomforge Overseers. They're okay. The abilities are nothing special. The attack is kind of low, but the defense is pretty good, 23. So at least they're durable, even though their offensive capabilities are low. Then we have the Doomforge Pulverizers, and has the same stats as the General's Bodyguard. Almost the same. So you can recruit these guys as a non-General's Bodyguard unit as well. Then we have the animated Stone Guards, and I remember fighting these a lot, and they are a surprising pain because 13 attack, 13 defense, they inspire friendly troops. They have a bonus against cavalry, and that's what's surprising. I remember having a cavalry charge against them, and because they're classified as heavy infantry, so I had a lot of cavalry trying to, run them down, and these guys were winning, and I didn't know. they're an infantry unit, but they have the damage bonus against cavalry that spearmen normally have. Very misleading, and that makes them pretty good. So they can handle fighting infantry, they can handle fighting cavalry. Pretty well-rounded unit. Then we have these guys, very cool armor. Molten Fist Harbingers. Extremely good stats. A little bit expensive, but I think it's worth it. 16 attack, 18 defense, 2 hit points. They inspire friendly troops, bonus against cavalry, and then on top of all of that, they also have armor penetration. Really, really, really good unit. Then we have our first monster unit, the Dark Iron Golems, and these guys hit like a truck. 18 attack, 23 defense, 5 hit points. I'm just glad they don't have armor penetration. They would be way too OP. And they cost 4k, but considering how high the stats are, especially the 5 hit points, I would say they're definitely worth getting. Then we have our Gunslinger units, Iron Star Shooters. I remember having to deal with these guys. They are very effective. Kind of low melee attack, doesn't really matter. 12 missile attack, that's pretty high for riflemen. 10 defense, again, they're attacking from a distance, that's fine. But they have that sweet, sweet armor penetration because they're riflemen, and they are very devastating. I think they have a higher reload speed than a lot of other riflemen, and I think that's what makes them extra deadly. If you have just a few of these on the walls like this against an invading army, they're extremely useful. Okay, next we have the Iron Star Sharpshooters. So they are a more upgraded version. They're kind of the sniper version of the Iron Star Shooters. So we can compare them right here. They have higher defense, they have a higher missile attack. Their missiles are long range, which the previous one lacks, which makes sense because they're supposed to be like a sniper unit. And what also makes these guys extremely dangerous is that they have the kind of rogue ability to hide anywhere. So they're stealthed. As long as they're not moving or in combat, they're in stealth. So you can position these guys in the perfect situation to lay down a trap. Then we have the Iron Star Marksman. They are crossbowmen, that makes sense. So their missile attack is a little bit lower than the riflemen, but they're still worth it, especially because crossbows have armor penetration. They also have long range. Not bad. A little bit pricey, but definitely worth recruiting. Now we're going to talk about cavalry and a few monster units and also artillery. So first up we have the Anvil Rage Mounted Warriors. They're pretty good. They're pretty good for cavalry. 10 attack, 19 defense, Warcry ability. Not bad. Considering how cheap they are, definitely worth getting. Then we have the Doomforge Steelbreakers, and they're definitely an upgrade from the Anvil Rage Mounted Warriors. Slightly higher attack, 24 defense. Armor penetration, let's not forget about that. Yeah, this is an extremely good cavalry unit. They're more expensive, but I would say definitely worth getting, especially because of the high defense and the armor penetration. Then we have these guys. They look so freaking cool. The Molten Giant. We have 3 giants right here, and what's interesting about them is they're classified as heavy cavalry because if they were infantry, they would be too OP. They could use battering rams and ladders and siege towers. So it's good that they're in the cavalry category. They have extremely good stats. 30 attack, 33 defense, 10 hit points. 10 hit points. They inspire friendly units. They scare enemy units. Extremely good. Like, once you can recruit these guys, like, your campaign will probably never lose. Now let's look at the units that I didn't have space for in my army, so I put them in an AI army. We have the Dark Iron Death Rocket. It's a unique artillery. It's different from, I think they're the only faction that has them. You can see the models are unique looking. Very long range, so that's very effective. They scare enemy units. That's pretty rare for an artillery unit. And yeah, look at that, 1000 damage against buildings. Crazy good. Let's look at the remaining. I think there's like 2 or 3 more. Another monster unit, Corehound. These guys are also insanely OP. 17 melee attack, 24 missile attack, 35 defense, and 15 hit points. Like, they're almost unkillable. They have a special attack. They can shoot in circles. They also scare enemy units. Extremely OP, extremely good. A little bit pricey, but I think it's worth it. And then, last but not least, we have the Dark Iron Earthshaker Cannon. Look at that. 1000 damage against buildings, very long range missiles. They scare enemy units, and they have an area attack. So yeah, it's extremely good artillery. And yeah, that's it for this free preview. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, helps the channel a lot. Subscribe if you want to be notified for more faction previews, and I'll see you guys on the next one.